guys, Kevin Yates here. So I've been working on addressing a question from Matt. So Matt, I'm not going to go into reading the whole question because it was a pretty good length of a question. So I'm just going to go over the gist of it and then do the best I can with what I got here. So basically, Matt, you've got some issues with all kinds of pain in your I think you said the left side of your neck, your shoulder, all the way down the arm, elbow, fingers, all of that stuff. And then to top it off, you've been going through some different types of therapy, massage, getting things worked out, chiropractor, I think you said, and nothing seems to be working. And then to top it all off, you're dealing with Tourette's syndrome. So, I mean, this was a pretty complex issue going on, and I am definitely not an expert on Tourette's syndrome at all. I don't know a whole lot about it. I will say that right now and up front. So the things that I'm going to recommend to you are just some tips to hopefully maybe help you out in some way. There's just some things that I'm thinking of that, you know, maybe you can try out here. But the big thing, Matt, that struck me is when you talked about your collarbone is like sticking out like 3 inches. And that, to me, you got to get that checked out first and foremost, because that could be like a shoulder separation. That could be something, you know, a lot more serious going on. So before doing anything in this video that I'm talking about, get that checked out and see what's going on there first, because that's definitely not, you know, something normal that's happening. And I don't know, depending on the severity of the tics that you have and everything, if it's strong enough that you separated something or, you know, pulled something out in that shoulder. So first and foremost, get that checked out. So some of the things I want to talk about, Matt, are things that potentially can help you. So when you've got pain that's radiating down the arm, there's definitely something neurological that's going on in there. And the things that I try to look at are imbalances, first and foremost, from a physical sense, like imbalances that are there. So again, I don't have you here. I've never seen you. So I just have to throw out some ideas that I've got. And, you know, if all of them help you, great. If one of them helps you, great. I mean, then, you know, just kind of pick and choose where you think that these fit in best. So, but back to the pain going down there, the type of pain that you've got, there's definitely some neurological issue that's going on in there. So typically what happens is I would look at, especially with pain, like neck pain, shoulder pain, and down the arm, it's all typically related, right? So you've got potential muscle imbalances in the levator scapulae, right in the back of the neck and the base of the skull, that attaches to the inside border of your shoulder blade. You've got the upper trapezius. Those are two really kind of chief sources of pain that in most people. All right, so you've got these pain patterns in there, and if you have tight upper traps or a tight levator, basically through the attachment on the cervical spine at your neck, it can, if this is your neck, like the length of it fits in there, and those muscles are tight, and they start to get tight, they pull down on that column at the neck, and so the nerves that innervate the upper extremity, your arm, come out of the neck, right, out of the canals out there. So if you're tightening up the sides of those where those nerve endings come out, and you tighten it up, it's really easy to impinge on the nerve roots there. And it could cause all kinds of weird, you know, pain, numbness, tingling, all those weird sensations that you get. One of the areas I would look at, if you're getting numbness down through here and down the medial aspect in here, right, of your arm, if you can see it in the camera there, I would look at somewhere around C7, C7, T1, somewhere in there, right? Typically, you're going to see some issues in there. All right, so the other thing is regarding the exercise, you talked about stretching. You're getting some stretching done, massage work done, but you didn't mention anything about strengthening. So one of the problems, especially with like an upper trap, there's differentiation in what muscles do. So the two muscles I talked about, interestingly enough, the levator scapulae tends to be a muscle that is considered a postural type muscle, right? Where it's easily activated, easily stimulated. So it could get real tight real easy. The upper trapezius, on the other hand, is a muscle that can tend to become inhibited and becomes longer and weaker. So what's really interesting between the two is if you're just stretching everything, then you're missing a chief component here, right? Because muscles that are weak and long already, if you go and stretch a muscle like that, you're just making an existing problem even worse. You're stretching a muscle that's already long and weak, right? So there would be some strengthening that would need to happen in the muscles that are long and weak and stretching in the muscles that are short and tight. So if it's a levator scapulae and upper trap, you're having issues in there, which I suspect you might be, then you want to stretch the levator scapulae and then strengthen a little bit more of the upper trapezius, right? So from a postural standpoint, if you look at, it sounds like you might be having that forward rounded shoulder type posture, right? Where that upper trapezius will just get kind of pulled down and it'll get lengthened out and kind of stretched out. So, just stretching it isn't gonna help a lot. It's gonna exacerbate your problems. So that's the other thing I want to look at is from a postural standpoint, where do you exist? If you're in this forward kind of rounded posture, a lot of problems can happen. One, you're going to have less mobility at the shoulder because the angle of the scapula cuts off how much range you have. So anytime you're moving that shoulder or reaching overhead or doing activities, you're impinging upon that shoulder. It's basically locked up before you have full range. You'll see if I bend over like this and I go to reach, and I'm trying that, that's as far as I could go. Now if I straighten my back up, now look where I could go. There's so much more room in that shoulder that way. So if you're really rounded out, you're just exacerbating a lot of problems. And then what has to happen, wherever your shoulder doesn't move, other muscles have to pick up the slack for it. Okay, so really be looking at the posture. The other thing with posture that's really important is breathing. And breathing is huge because if you are slumped down like this and in this kind of a posture, you're in a position or a posture that deals with exhaling and expelling air out. But you're not going to be able to properly get enough oxygen in to your body. And oxygen is important because oxygen, your cells of your body need oxygen. They need to transport oxygen and also to get oxygen in the cells and nutrients, but also to flush waste and byproducts out of the cells. So all it does is if you have an accumulation of waste and byproducts in the muscles, that can contribute to more dysfunction, pain, and all kinds of other things. And also oxygen is important for your brain. So every time you breathe in, your spine has to go through extension, right? It opens up and extends, and when you breathe out, it flexes. So what this does is it kind of creates a pump through the spine, through the cerebral spinal fluid, where the fluid will travel up to the brain and deliver oxygen up into the blood vessels of the brain, or in the brain, I should say, the cells of the brain, and then back down, right? Transport waste and byproducts down. So this happens all throughout the body. So this is a key thing in helping you with the pain problems. Okay, the other thing is sleep. You want to make sure that your sleep cycles are on. So you should be getting to bed at least 5 nights out of your week, no later than 10:30 p.m. That means that you're not just laying in bed, but you're asleep by 10:30. And the reason why this is important, Matt, is because of the recovery that takes place. Your body physically has to recover. Your body also mentally, your brain has to recover as well. And it's only during the appropriate, you have certain windows that allow this to happen during the night. So the later you're staying up, and I don't know if you are or not because I don't know you, but if you're staying up till 11, 12, 1, you are negatively impacting your recovery. You're more what's the word I'm looking for? You're making, God, I'm stuck with the word today. Jeez, my brain's not working, Matt. See, I got to get more oxygen in me. But you're making an existing problem basically worse. So it's all these little things, as you can see, Matt, that I'm picking up that will contribute. One of these things by itself isn't really the most powerful thing, but when you add up all these little things, it becomes really powerful. And why I'm holding this pen, I have no idea. I think I was going to write on this whiteboard behind me, but I'm not doing that. The other thing, so what we talked about was strengthening too, okay? So now in terms of strengthening, what I would do is focus on, if posturally you're kind of here where you're rounded out and slumped over, you want to focus on some strengthening exercises that will help to retract the shoulder blades, pull them back together, get your posture in an upright position, and open up the shoulder. And also exercises at the neck. So if you're kind of, here with a forward head, you want to have exercises that will help you to retract the head and straighten up the cervical spine as well. It'll put you in the ideal position from an alignment standpoint, so you're not, causing excessive wear and tear along the spinal column, on the nerves, and on the muscles and ligaments and all that. All right. Also, pay attention to your diet. This is hugely important because a lot of times when we have physical pain, we tend to address everything physically, right? We tend to just only look at exercise. We only look at stretching. We're only looking at the physical components. But one of the big things that a lot of people miss is a big thing that contributes to pain is what we're putting in our mouths. And even when we think we're eating quote-unquote healthy diets, the nutritional information that's being perpetuated among society nowadays is absolute crap. It is such crap, Matt. So you really want to make sure, let's work on eliminating, like completely eliminating, and do this at least for 30 days. And this should make somewhat of a pretty good difference within a 30-day window. And if it does, then keep on it, right? And this should really help you out. So be, what do I want to say? Eliminate all forms of stimulants. So, caffeine, things that contain any kind of stimulating herbs, ma huang extract, anything. So anything that you're drinking, if there's coffee, if there's tea, if there's sodas, things like that, get rid of them. All forms of stimulants are going to excite the central nervous system and potentially make it more likely for you to tick, right? And lose control over your central nervous system. And your central nervous system, that has everything to do with commanding the muscles of your body to turn on, right? Or switch off. Okay, so that's one thing, get rid of stimulants. Second thing, sugar. So again, we're looking at things like sodas, things like sweets, right? Things like juices, right? Look at everything that you possibly can and get rid of all forms of sugar from your diet. Again, these are central nervous system stimulants. They also change a lot from in your body hormonally and chemically. They can affect what's going on at the level of the brain and really mess you up, okay? So get rid of those two things. Also, processed foods was the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Again, frozen type foods, ready-made type meals, deli lunch meats, all of these things. If it comes in a box or a bag or it's prepackaged or something like that, get rid of it. So really clean that diet up, Matt, for 30 days and see if you notice a difference with it. And then the last thing that I want to mention has to do with this is something a little bit deeper, Matt, in concept, and it's something beyond the physical stuff that we can do. So I'm a big believer that, physical things need to be addressed. Diet needs to be addressed. Nutrition, sleep, hydration, all of that. And hydration was another thing I should have told you. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water, Matt, good clean water. But a lot of things tend to be going on, things beyond what we can see, and they tend to go on for a long time. And really, what I believe is that the physical stuff that happens, all the pain and injury cycles and things that we're going through, those are the physical manifestations of something that's been going on at a much deeper level for a longer period of time. We just don't really tune into it. We're not aware of it until we get the physical symptoms. So the two things I want you just to think about are any issues that you've had either now or either during your life. It could be in childhood, it could have been, whenever. But think of specifically issues that you've had related to you not being able to express yourself. Maybe you're keeping things in. You just in some way were not communicating or expressing yourself. Maybe you weren't speaking up for yourself. Or on the other end, maybe there was too much of it. Maybe you were extremely outspoken and just really out there with your communication or something. These are directly related into the areas with neck pain, with shoulder pain, with arm pain. These are directly more emotional type issues that can be related, is what I should say, to all of these. So just think about that, Matt. That's stuff that possibly can tie in. So I know I've gone really long with this video, and again, this is why I took so long with it, because there was so much to address. But first and foremost, Matt, get that shoulder checked out, because I wouldn't do any exercising or anything until you understand what's going on with that shoulder, and then, you know, make sure that you get with your doctor on that and check, you know, what can I do, what can I not be doing, especially from an exercise standpoint, stretching standpoint, and all that. Okay, so hopefully that those are some pointers that will get you started in the right direction. And again, keep me posted if this helped you out, Matt. I'd love to hear your feedback on it. And anybody else who's got your questions, bring them to me, and I'll do my best to do a future video and give you some answers if I can help. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.